Welcome to another Creative Spark Plugs. I'm Eric Scott, and I'm here again to bring you a quick, simple idea to get you going, to get you making, creating, just to get those creative juices flowing. So today I want to share something that actually I'm really into. This is something that I've been doing for a long time, and that is drawing monsters. Now, I don't draw scary monsters. Mine are kind of cute, grumpy, confused. And what I love about drawing monsters is that, since monsters don't really exist, that I can really be free with how I do them. So I've been drawing and creating monsters for about 7 years now, 8 years, and I still have a lot of fun doing them. And some people might feel like, oh, well, maybe that's better for kids, but really, I think it's just a lot of fun for anybody. And like I said, because they're not real, you really are only limited by your imagination. But if you need some inspiration, if you need some help, I'll put a link in the comments. But I have a free download from my website that actually it's called Monster Maker Workshop. And it just kind of gives you some ideas for possible body or head shapes, for eyes, mouths, that kind of stuff, arms, legs. It doesn't go into like step by step, this is how you do it, but it is a good resource for some inspiration. And if you are a teacher, feel free to use it with your students. So anyway, drawing a monster, I'm just going to use a pencil and a piece of paper, and that's really all you need. You could do this with a pen, and maybe I'll do that. I think what I want to do, depending on how much time, is to show you two different approaches. So the first approach is going to be kind of how I typically do my monsters, and that is to kind of sketch them out first and then to kind of ink them up. But maybe you're just drawing with something like a pen or a marker, and you don't want to have to kind of outline or trace your lines, and have to erase the pencil line. So I think, if we have time, I'll kind of do both. So anyway, let's go ahead and grab your paper, grab your pencils, pens, whatever you're going to use, and let's make some monsters. So let me go ahead and flip it over. Okay, so I've got my paper. I'm just using a mixed media paper in case I want to paint on it, but use any kind of paper you want. And I've got a nice, I'm using a dark pencil just so that it will show up on the video. But typically I'd use a very light pencil so that I can erase. So I'm going to try to draw my monster so it fills up the space, but yet the whole body is going to be on it. But feel free to draw it really big where it goes off the edge, but however you want to do it. So the first technique I'm going to show you is really just kind of thinking about the shapes. So this is how I typically start. I kind of want the shape to be the majority of the space. So I kind of think like, do I want kind of a triangular shape? So this monster is going to be a little bit more of a triangle. And so I just draw this quickly. I'm sketching it out. Like I said, this pencil is a little bit darker than I typically use for this, but I have that kind of shape. It's a little bit off, but it's a monster, so I think it's fine. And then next, I usually draw the eyes, and so does the monster have one eye, two eyes, three eyes? I do a lot of two-eyed monsters, and what I'll do is have one eye really big, and then have the other eye a little bit smaller. But I have it go off like kind of out of the body shape. So I have that space there. I'm going to use this eraser. It erases a little bit better than the one on my pencil. If I can erase that. And this is just a sketch, so it's okay if I don't get it all. But, two big eyes. And then thinking about a mouth, is it going to be a big open mouth? I kind of like to have my monsters have sort of like what is it called, an underbite, so that way kind of a lip. So this is kind of the lip, and then I can have it bump out this way. Maybe I will try to use this eraser. Gets in there a little bit easier, a little bit better. And then, so he's got a lip there. And then I think about legs. So I want the legs to come down so that the feet are close to the bottom. Maybe I'll just kind of round them off the body. Couple little lines. Oftentimes I'll think about animals. And so if you download that Monster Maker Workshop PDF, it's a handout from my website, it's going to show some different kind of animal legs and arms and such. So, and then the arms are going to come out. I tend to have the arms kind of hang down And for me, I tend to have my arms kind of like look like clubs. So just a nice curve comes down and then wraps around. And it's a little bit thinner at the top. So that way, like, the clubs kind of come down and the hands are at the end. So if I wanted to, I can leave them like that. But if I wanted to give them fingers, maybe I'll give them claws. And I just do little spikes, little triangles. And I'm not worrying about cleaning this up too much because if I am going to ink it up, I'll do all the cleanup after it's been inked. But anyway, let's think about some horns. Actually, let's go back to the eyes. I like to do kind of rings around the eyeballs. I don't know where I got this from. I think it was just something that I kept coming back to and I really like it. So it's like a big ring. And if I wanted to, I could put eyelids in. And what I like to do is to put a smaller ring in. And usually I think about like a person's eye, you have like an eyelid, and then the eyelid has thickness, and so usually there's like a little pink part of the eye that you see. So I kind of always think about that, like that's like some kind of membrane or something. I don't know. It's just another little ring that I put in there. And then I'm gonna do the iris, and I'm not gonna put it smack dab in the center. I'm gonna put it right over here. And actually, I learned this from Jim Henson. I heard him talking about how when he made the Muppets, that he would put the eyes and just have them cross-eyed just a little bit. And then it kind of just helped them. So I just put in the pupils, and then I'm gonna just put that like little like reflection in. Usually I would do that with the ink, but I wanted to kind of show you with the pencil. All right, so got some eyes in there. Let's think about the horns. I kind of like to have like a ring at the bottom that the horn kind of comes out of. And horns, I usually just kind of do like a spiky horn. Sometimes they're long, sometimes they're curled. I don't really do antler type horns, but feel free to do any kind of horns or spikes or hair or anything like that. So anyway, so I'm getting close to being done. I need some teeth though. So let's put like a big sort of rectangular teeth. You're right, do a little erasing. All right, so this monster is getting pretty close, but let's get some other details. So let's think about maybe some spots. What if the monster has knees? So there's like little wrinkles on the knees, maybe little like stripes on the arms. With the horns, a lot of times the ring that's near the head, I like to give it like little, like it's bumpy. Let's go ahead and do some spots on top of here. Let's see. And then thinking about around the eyes, maybe I'll do like little dashes just to create some kind of like texture. A lot of times these little details, I don't put them in until I ink it up. So usually what I'll do is I'll do all the big stuff and then the little details I'll put in after I ink it up. But yeah, so that quickly I've got a little monster. And like I said, what I normally do is I ink it up like this one. And I just used a couple different sizes of pens, some thick pens, some thin pens, put some, dots, made a tongue, put some dots on it for taste buds, and just really try to fill in a lot of the textures and a lot of the details. So that's the first kind of guy that I wanted to share, first little monster. Okay, so the second monster that I want to share is what if you're drawing with just a pen and you don't have an eraser? So with this guy, I had to erase where the eyes overlapped. So when I sketch out like this, I can really sketch in the big shapes first, overlap stuff, erase it. Like I said, I'll eventually ink it up and then erase all the pencil lines. But what if I'm using a black pen or a Sharpie marker? Then what? So usually what I'll do is I'll start with the eyes. So if I want to have the eyes, maybe this guy's going to have 3 eyes. So let's go ahead and do one big one in the middle, and then we'll do a couple smaller ones. And I do the same thing. So I like to have those like those little rings. So a thicker one and then a thinner one inside. Sometimes I like just drawing with the pen because it forces me to live with the marks that I make. So like if I'm like, oh, I mess up, then I'm gonna have to fix that. Let's go ahead and put in the eyes. All right. So then let's think about how I'm going to do the mouth. So I have to think about this. I want to have a tongue sticking out. So I'm going to have to do the tongue first. So draw a big tongue. This little part that sticks out, that's going to be the lip is going to come out this way. So it's like the tongue is coming up and out. And so, like I said, this is going to be the lip. So let's go ahead and draw in the lip. So it's kind of like reverse engineering the monster. All right, so there's the lip. Let's go ahead and just do a little curve at the end. Maybe I'm not going to put a full lip. Maybe I'll put a line to kind of show the bottom of the lip. And then now I can do the body. And then, I have a little bit less room than the other sketch. So maybe I'll just do duck-like, bird-like feet, kind of short. So up here now, I've got to finish up the top of the head. I like to have the eyes that are on the side to kind of stick out a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and, well, actually, before I do that, let's think about teeth. So I want to have maybe I'll do sharp teeth this time. Let's do the teeth first. And then I can think about like, okay, I want the rest of the head to come up. And maybe he's got more of a rounded head. Okay, and then arms. I'm going to do the arms very similar way that I did before. As I like having them skinnier near the body, kind of club-like arms. Oh, that's a little skinny. That's all right. He's got skinny arms. That's the thing. Like with a pen, sometimes you'll do something like, oh no. All right, let's give him some kind of rounded, square-like fingers. All right, and then some horns. Again, I like to kind of have like a little ring or something that the horns are going to come out of. Maybe this time they're going to curl a little bit more. So, with the pen, things might be a little wonky, but that's what's kind of nice about it. You kind of force yourself to live with what you've done. With the pencil, a lot of times we're like, oh, well, I can just erase it. And now when a lot of people use iPads and tablets and computers, it's like, oh yeah, you can just undo all that stuff that you've done. But there's just something about drawing with a pen. You can't fix your mistakes. Well, you can fix them, but you can't erase them. Let's give this guy some stripes. So typically I sketch out my monsters and then ink them up, but occasionally, especially like in my journal or in my sketchbook, I'll just draw directly with some pen. But there you go. There's two different kind of monsters. You could sketch it out where you can erase it and kind of fix things up, or draw it directly. But if you're going to draw it directly with a pen, think about how you can reverse engineer so that if you have areas that overlap, you can make it look like it's overlapping and you don't have to erase it. So anyway, there you go. All right, so Monster Maker, making some monsters. I think that's a great way to just kind of let your inner child come out. But again, there are people that they make their careers designing monsters, whether it's for movies or for products or things like that. So Anyway, I just think it's a fun activity for anybody, any age. And like I said, I do monsters all the time, so I'm definitely into them, and hopefully you'll have an appreciation for them. And it's just another way to be like, oh, I don't know what to make. Oh, I can draw a monster. And again, since monsters don't really exist, we can make them any way we want. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed another episode of Creative Spark Plugs. And don't forget to hit that like button. Please leave comments, and please share. Please share what you've been making. Hopefully you've been using these videos for yourself and making something and doing some of these activities. I'd love to see what you're doing. So tag me on social media or leave a link in the comments. And then yeah, share the video, share it with folks, share it with your students if you're a teacher, share it with your friends and colleagues. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed another Creative Spark Plugs. Hopefully I'll be able to have one up for next week. But anyway, until next time, thank you so much. Happy creating, and yeah, see you next time.